Hi guys. I hope I did this right because I don't have Byron or anyone to be yelling at me in the background if I'm doing it wrong. So, but since I see you guys are coming on, it looks like I've kind of done it right. So I'm here in Paris, and that's why I'm drinking, because I normally don't start this. I mean, actually, I don't even drink at all. If any of my friends are like, what? You're not a big drinker. Anyways, I'm here with Rosana Lai.
Hi.
And Rosie is the fashion director at Tatler, right? Tatler Asia. And I've known Rosie for a long time, and the last time we saw each other was
in Hong Kong, actually.
Years ago,
yeah.
in Hong Kong. And so here we are together in Paris. So I'm going to put this wine down. I'm really
looking
much more lush than I am, and I only had a sip. So we're here together, and what we're going to talk to you guys about today is some of the things that have been happening on the runway show. And you've been to lots of shows, and the shows in Paris have been amazing. So we'll talk about trends that are coming, and then most importantly, how to work in things that you already have in your closet into what we're seeing in the future. Because you guys know, like, this is not about jerking everyone around and having a complete, like, oh, everything I bought is not relevant anymore, and now I want all new. So we love style, we love fashion, we love newness, but we want to make it work with what we already have in our closets, because that's smart and it's sustainable, and it calms us down. So that's a good thing. So what is one of the biggest trends that you've seen so far?
Well, I feel like everyone's just been rearing to go outside and like kind of show a bit of skin, and I think the designers definitely fed into that. And there's a lot of, the mini skirt is back, and if you look at Miu Miu, it's like beyond mini. It's like it barely, it's like a napkin.
Yeah. Like you have to have a complete wax and everything.
Everything.
Like hardcore.
Yes. And then, there's a lot of kind of wearing a bra as a top and then putting a jacket over. A lot of sheer fabrication, a lot of crochet happening. But also just like easy breezy silhouettes as well, and seeing more kind of color blocking than prints. I think at the end of the day, it's just about celebrating your body and being able to go out again, and just feeling, summery, and whatever that means to you.
Yeah.
But for me, like, and Amy and I were talking about this right before, I don't like to show a whole lot of skin. I mean, like, I know that sometimes I do, like, in my shoulder, maybe in the waist a bit, but, like, I don't like showing my legs. Like, maybe it's growing up in Hong Kong. My grandmother would kind of, back in the day, if I were wearing, like, a tank top and my bra was showing, she'd be like, go upstairs and change. Like, there's a little bit of that, I think. Right. So for me, it's also, like, when I look at things on the runway, I'm like, that's great on this beautiful model, but how does that translate for me, like, as a CP? So and then, obviously you've had this conversation as well with your audience, and this is why I personally, like, for example, today I'm wearing like a tube top, and like I wouldn't wear it with anything short at the bottom. It's just
I think that's because it's always like when there are the big new trends coming, like you were saying, there's a bit of body conscious and like really showing off what you got. There is the cutout detail, there is different color prints, crochet, and detail, and I always like to back it up and figure out, like, what does all that mean? Because I think that so many magazines and everything, they're always like about the checklist, like, here are the 2020 trends for spring, and check, check, check. And so I think, like, as we were talking and really like backing it up to one overarching thing, I think it is about finding ways to take what you have, take what you want, and kind of really lean into your personal identity with it. And I think that as a creative pragmatist, what I love is that pragmatism is about functionality, but creativity is all of that, like, expression. And so I think it is really just leaning into the balance of that and really expressing yourself. So you're wearing a piece from our resort collection. So Rosie has on the tube top, and I think that is like exactly how, like, when we talk about things closer to the body, and that's a super rich, like, 8-ply cashmere plied up with
It's
lycra, so
actually
it's got lots of
so
body
warm.
to it.
Yeah, it's really saved me this fashion week because the weather has been so unpredictable. And when you wear something as quote unquote naked as a tube top, and we were saying this earlier, where you kind of need to balance it with that fabrication so you don't feel like you're overexposed and like you're wearing something so thin and flimsy. And then for me, like what I like to do is balance it out with a lot of menswear tailoring. So like this jacket and kind of, it's quite, you know, oversized. Something a little bit more bare underneath. And so yeah, I think it's about kind of making it work for your personality and your style. Like even if you see something on the runway that you're like that you might be interested in, but like it may not be for you, you can achieve that look without having to necessarily buy that piece of clothing.
Yeah, because they're so, I mean, well, okay, so this is from Fall current. This is a frank sleeve, but there is a lot of cutout detail. So for me, just even having this happening on the sleeve is giving the cutout detail. But then the pleated skirt is from Resort, and this is coming up, guys. This has been in a lot of my photographs recently, but this is all cut out here. But when I'm wearing a black bodysuit with it, then I know it's there. You don't really know it's there. I'm not going to go bare here, and I do like seeing this with like a white dress shirt and something really highlighting the fact that it's cut out, but it doesn't need to be bare. And I think that's, you know, the overarching thing to remember is there is something really interesting about a little more bareness happening right now. But for me and for you, we like being able to have the options of covering up. You know, like you've got a good blazer and you can layer it up.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to show, okay, so I'm going to give you guys some good sneak peeks from spring. So one thing I want to show you here is when we talk about things having just a lightness to it and a little more interest and fun. Like this is this really simple slip dress that we have, and I love this, and it really is about having some color, some shine, but then for me I'll wear like a big Liam tuxedo blazer with it.
Totally, I would do the same. And the thing is, I'm also seeing a lot of evening wear as day wear. I think, you know, we were talking about Balenciaga and these kind of these dramatic things that you just kind of, you know, I think again, like people have been indoors for so long, they just want to like feel like what they're wearing is like a party in itself. And so there's this celebration as well, and you know, you're getting a lot of sparkle, you're getting kind of just things that you could easily wear at night if depending on how you style it, but then also during the day if you do throw on a blazer, you know, then you're appropriate as well.
And so again, to like when you have all these fun things happening like sparkle, you really can really keep it in your vein. So like this is one of the new sandals for spring, and this is like in this burgundy color. So I think one of the interesting things is when they talk about color being a big thing, it's really finding out what's the color that's really within your comfort zone, you know, because you don't want your closet to become this chaotic place that gives you anxiety. And so I think for me, when I know that like if I have this light blue dress, but I'm gonna wear it with this burgundy shoe.
It grounds you.
Yeah, it grounds me. And it's interesting. It's still interesting. It's very creative, but it's grounding at the same time.
Amy and I were talking about like colors now. I gravitate towards like oranges. Like orange is basically a neutral for me at this point. Greens, yellows. But then I don't usually do a whole lot of like pinks and reds. I just feel like it doesn't, burgundy fine, but like it just doesn't work on my skin tone. And that's okay. And the fact that I have mostly these colors, it means that at the end of the day they actually go together. And if I add like a new piece of like a lime, actually I was looking here, can I pull it out?
Please.
If I add like a lime or something, it will go seamlessly.
Oh, that skirt.
I don't know where. Oh, here. It would go seamlessly with what I already own. Do you know what I mean? So this is kind of this like minty blue, this actually has a bit of green in it, green yellow, and then it actually, you know, it already goes with what I have. So
yeah, so as far as spring goes and really interesting trends is there is this more long and lean look, and it doesn't mean that everything has to get really skinny, or, you know, definitely doesn't mean that we need skinny jeans with rips on them or anything like that. But there are creative ways to kind of have this long and lean look that feels still very chill and effortless at the same time. So when Tracy and Hannah and I were designing this, yes, this is this fitted skirt that has lots of stretch in it, so it has a lot of give. But then we've mixed it with like this navy blue lamb suede camp shirt. So, you know, like I do like bandeaus right now, but I'm not going to wear it with this skirt. So this is what still keeps it chill. It keeps it modern. You've got this strange color combination, and then there's a very classic element to it. You know, I mean, it's navy suede.
But speaking of colors and long and lean, I do find that when you wear one color, top to bottom, that also helps you with length, and that's why I like kind of, it's kind of a chiffon material here.
Yeah, the chiffon is really pretty.
Like,
Well, it's actually, so another thing in like really thinking about the colors and the materials. So for us, this actually is not a chiffon. It's this dry cotton crepe.
ooh, it's beautiful.
So it's not as, it's nowhere near as slinky as like an Issey Miyake item. And then it's not as light and precious as anything like Alberta Ferretti would do. So it's got a really dry hand to it. And so the things that really go through our mind when we're designing the collection is how can we kind of lean into this whole idea of what's happening with transparency and a bit of femininity, but still be very familiar to us. So to have it in this hand that almost feels like cotton when you're touching it is our way of really still feeling like ourselves when we're doing it.
And there's kind of is there some sort of like a line? Oh, the lining in
the skirt.
in the skirt, so you don't have to worry about being completely.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely like be comfortable that your underwear is not going to show.
Yeah.
On the skirt, it is going to show on the top, and that's cool. And we love like a black bra or something. But this has a skirt that is detachable on the inside. But what's really cool, I'm going to show you guys one of Hannah's new earrings with this, so you'll die.
But also,
and in love.
What I love about this is there's like a little shoulder pad so that you feel like you still have a bit of structure. It's not all just like, you know, loosey and like, you know, clinging on to you, and you can feel like, you know, you're wearing something that actually has shape, and it's not just relying on like the shape of your shoulder.
So these little marshmallow guys, and you guys, they're so light, like you can even tell the way they're bouncing off each other. But again, so when all of the magazines and everything tell you for spring that it's about like bling and craziness and self-expression, and we've been locked up and we're ready to get outside, well, I mean, we're not running through the streets like it's Mardi Gras. I mean, we are like responsible people who have to like, you know, face people in our community the next day. So one of the interesting ways then that you do this, it's expressive, is you can do this with these incredible earrings, but then maybe you're wearing just something all black, something really chic, and you can play into the moment without feeling like you've lost your shit.
I can, hand to heart, like this is so light. I've worn earrings during Fashion Week where like my ears would be bleeding by the end of the day. It's just not cute.
It's so crazy. They're literally marshmallows.
So light as well. Actually, you can probably like hear the hollowness of this earring, and I immediately gravitated towards the white because usually like I think that would be the easiest to go with anything no matter what color you're wearing. But I think today, like, and Amy, I'll pick this out, which with this kind of minty thing happening, like this purple kind of adds like a slightly off pop to it. So we really love that.
And then she did these sick little gray guys here.
Is it gray or brown? Oh, okay. It's
gray.
like a taupe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like those weird colors that we love, you know.
Exactly.
Because then if you're wearing the gray and then maybe you have on like the khaki or something for going out, like it's just giving this bling moment without, you know, like we're not going back to like Lucky Magazine, the year's 2005, and they're like, wear your sequins to the office.
No.
Like if you work for Tibi, please don't wear your sequins to the office, okay?
Yeah, no one's doing that.
Just please don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, they are doing it, but it doesn't make it okay.
Exactly.
Unless, I mean, you guys, you know, I'm just kidding. Do whatever the hell you want. But, what I do know is that if you are a creative pragmatist who balances creativity and pragmatism, that you might buy into it for a hot minute, but you won't feel like yourself.
The thing is, if you wear a sequin dress to the office, it's going to be about the dress, and that's what anybody's going to look at. And when you're a CP,
Dude, just don't.
Like, it needs to be about you, but, you know, people need to be looking at you and not, like, just being overwhelmed by what you're wearing.
I promise, if Tracy shows up, if Hannah comes to work in a sequin dress,
They're fired.
I quit. No, I'm just going to be like, I quit. I got it all wrong. I have no idea what's going on. So Rosie's wearing the Liam here from Resort, and then I've got on one of the spring ones. And my favorite guy in Paris, Mehmet from Printemps, he was here earlier this morning in my room, and he was trying this on. So we love this on him as well. So this is really just designed for everyone, but it's really, really great.
The material is different on yours than on mine.
Mm-hmm. So yours is like a heavy knit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a knit jacquard, and then mine has this really dry hand to it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wool blend, but it's got this dry hand to it. So what that means is that there's just this like lightened up ease for spring. Things just have a little more drape to them than they have in the past. You know, in the last couple years, there's been a lot of talk about sculpture. And that sculpture has been interpreted through very like sharp sleeves that like stick out, or skirts that go like that. But now it's more like the sculpture is in the shape, but then it just kind of hangs and drapes. Like I'm going to show this. This is going to be really kind of hard to see, but this really pretty silk dress here. And if you saw the flat sketch on it, you would see that like it's very sculptural in shape, but it's 4-ply silk, so it all just hangs really, really nicely. And then just looks really chic. But then, you know, maybe if I'm wearing this, then maybe I want to have like a shoe that has like lots of sequins on it, so that when you walk, everyone knows that you're coming. Right?
Move out
They
of the
can
way.
absolutely hear you. So the sculpture is in the drape. Someone had asked me earlier if they could see, I had shown that I had packed the leather bomber that is from the Resort collection. So when I say Resort, that means it's being delivered in November. When I say spring, it means it's coming in February. You have to wait a little bit longer. But this is the leather bomber jacket. And so what's great about this jacket is we really, we spent a lot of time really getting this jacket that was right in our sweet spot. And what we wanted was something that wasn't as tough as a motorcycle jacket. We didn't want anything really cropped. We wanted something that would, like, if you're wearing a pleated skirt or something, it creates this interesting line.
It's actually like if you were to wear your boyfriend or your husband's jacket, it would kind of go right under the bum.
Yeah.
But the thing is, obviously, you tailored it here on the shoulder so it's more fitted for a woman. But
and that is how it came to be, because I had
okay.
I had found this vintage men's one, and I put it on. I was like, whenever I look in the mirror, and everyone makes fun of me in the office, but when I look in the mirror, I always like kind of squint my eyes because I'm looking at the clothing the way that I want to see it on my body. And when I was looking at the men's vintage, it had all this good drape to it because it was so nice and big and oversized. But then the shoulders came out way too far.
Too much material on the arms, yeah.
So you've got the raglan sleeve here. It comes in nicely. You've got our pockets, and then it cups you just under the bum there, so that you've got like that nice line going on with the pleats.
And it comes in suede.
Yes, and then the suede is for spring, and And so it's these really, really just super, super luxury fabrics. Because what we found is that, you know, for these things that are really meant to be forever in your closet, to have a sense of timeless to them, those really need to be in the good stuff.
For sure.
It does. You know, you don't want that to disintegrate quickly. You don't, you know, it really just, it needs to be around for a while because, you know, if I bought this, if I've invested in it, I want it to be here.
Well, with suede especially, and I was telling Amy earlier that it's a bit hard to find a suede jacket that you don't feel like it's musty and old, and it makes you feel also a bit like blah. And the shape is what changes the game, because the material itself can make you feel like a little, it's a bit old, but it's when it's in a modern shape, you know, that's the game changer.
So
this I love so much.
Yeah,
this is my favorite.
So this is the cardigan from fall. So what I want to show you guys is, you know, one of the things that we've really been interested for fall was the idea of things feeling a little bit worn and creating different shapes through the chewed out pieces here. So it's creating like a little bit of an openness and airiness to the knits. So then when you get into spring, you'll see that that is like replicated through the crochet. So you've still got the openness and the airiness, but you also have this, well, like in the grandpa sweater, it was about seeing the hand and things, you know, that's all like done by hand. So then with the crochet, it's really important too that, you know, that you see the workmanship. You want to, things are going by so fast. You know, people are just churning out so much. So you just want to like stop and take the time and really have something created that is interesting and special.
This is so fun as well, like the pattern. I just feel like the naughties are coming back in some ways, or like the early 2000s where people like the beading and like just really fun, like if I don't know if people have been seeing like these lanyards with like all the fun beads and the colors, and I think this is a great way to add that if you want to buy into that trend, but without it just being a complete like chaotic mess.
Yeah, because you don't, the idea is that you know, all these things that Rosie's talking about in these trends, like they're all things that Tracy and Hannah and I discuss ad nauseum when we're designing. And we're like, you know, we're in the mood for all that, but how do we do it in a way that still feels like us? So for me to take this little guy, but I'm gonna pair him with like the pleated cotton skirt from spring. I think someone could wear this with our white nylon joggers and still feel very much like themselves. So, you know, when you know, there is a lot of exciting stuff from us, from other brands too, for spring. So when you do it, you want to make sure that, you know, when we talk about the pyramid of how you buy, when you look at like your without fails and then your in and outs and your had to haves, like really make sure that you don't end up with this closet of all in and outs and had to haves, because that can really be totally unsettling. And you know,
that's the thing, is if you were to buy like say something really cropped because that's what's in right now, very soon you're just going to tire of it, or you're going to realize that you don't actually reach for it in your closet because it's not really what you gravitate towards normally, but you're just forcing yourself to like this trend. And so actually the first thing I did when I came and saw this reel was pick out this dress, because I love a good cutout, but in very specific areas. Like, so, like usually maybe a bit on the waist or like on the shoulder. There was the Philip Lim dress that I wore with actually
with those shoes.
With these shoes.
The one I posted in my stories.
Yeah, and a lot of people were like, was that Tibi? And I was like, but it could have been actually. And this is actually very similar. So everyone put this in your wish list, because that's going to be on my wish list.
And what's great about that one too was that like this print is one that Tracy created by hand with drip paint, and what you can't see on here is it's very tactile. So when you touch it, it's got that rubberized feel to it, and that's the thing, like with the crochet, with that cotton gauze and everything, the idea is that you can really feel the workmanship and things. So that's the reason for that being in the dress. One of the other things that's really great too, like we have the most beautiful colors coming out in the nylon joggers.
So excited. I've
So-
worn the gray ones like to death.
death.
I don't think people should know how many times I've worn them already. I mean, the thing is, like, these can be really pared down, you know, on a lazy Sunday afternoon, but then I've worn them with these heels actually, and then they were actually a fashion week outfit. Like, I mean, that's
Well, like the most
magical.
classic, this morning I had breakfast with Veronique Tristam, and she's French, was living in Germany, now she
yeah.
lives back in France, but she was wearing the silver ones, but she was wearing it with the double-faced alpaca navy blue coat, and it was, and you know, she's very like
Those
so
oversized
black
glasses,
sunglasses, and it was so natural on her. So, I mean, you know, that's a loud pant, right? I get a lot of DMs on how to wear that pant. So it is finding that real sweet spot for you where you can take all of these exciting new trends of color, of sequins, of pleating, of crochet, and really make it feel like it belongs in your wardrobe.
So you have this dusty pink, and what are some of the colors that are?
We've
coming
got
out?
then this, like here's the
Ooh.
Stella in this kind of, it's almost like a mustard seed, right? Like, well,
it's like a light
paler.
pale, like a.
I'm really
lemon?
bad with naming my colors. I'm like,
I don't know
J.
what
Crew
your
would
color
fire me. I'd be like, this is yellowy brown.
Brown.
Brownish.
There's no brown in
I don't
this.
know. I know. Tracy's always like, no, it's not.
But when we were talking about colors as well, it's like these kind of off colors that
Like
really,
even wearing this like
Yes.
this baby blue tee, like,
that you'll-
and then you wear it with a brown sandal.
okay, there we go. There's the
That's
brown.
the thing, like you wear it with a brown, yeah, there's no brown.
Yeah.
But you wear it with a brown sandal.
Yeah.
And so then you haven't lost your mind. You've kept it CP.
You know, so I went and bought a Bottega bag, the Jody one, and obviously there's so many colors, and I ended up getting this kind of a lemony yellow. Almost, they call it tapioca, but it's like sometimes in certain lights it look almost white. And it actually went with everything, like grays, browns, blacks, and sometimes it's actually exactly this color, and you would be surprised how easy this
Yeah.
is. Basically a neutral. You can treat it like a nude or a white, you know.
Totally, because I think like, so that's one of the fundamental pieces, but then like you could also mix it with the blue Liam blazer here, you know, and that's gonna, I'm not wearing it with black, I don't like it with black, but I would wear it with like a white tee.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I have no voice.
Well, we should talk about shoes.
Yes.
So what I saw a lot of on the runway, and actually one of my good friends called it the Bratz Trend, which is these huge oversized platforms that are like at Versace and what was it, like at Acne. They were like literally this high, and obviously that's not.
Yeah, Acne was like almost like you're on like the kid,
Beyond
like when you were
stilts.
little there was a thing that you walked on, you tied yourself in with, that's what we did, we tied ourselves in with a belt.
Oh my
It was
gosh,
totally
that
dangerous.
sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it was not appropriate.
Okay, don't try that at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they looked really cool because they give you this like long silhouette. But then, practically speaking, I'm not sure I would necessarily wear them because I'm so afraid of rolling my ankle. I mean, I own some platform shoes, and Amy, you said you had a pair of Jill Sanders that you've never touched.
Yeah, they piss me off. Because I was telling Rosie, I think it's about like really then stepping back and thinking, okay, if I'm craving this platform shoe, what is it that I'm trying to get out of it? And normally I'm trying to get like this kind of longer, lean look. And so I think it's important, like, this is one of the cashmere sweaters from spring, and it's so light, but you can wear it in a really long, interesting way here. And then it's got the cutout details, so you can still have something happening here.
I love that.
And then, you know, so this is like, it's really stepping back and thinking, you think you want a platform shoe.
Yeah.
So it's like really thinking, like, if I'm thinking about my own wardrobe, what am I wanting that platform shoe to do for me?
Yeah.
And then once you figure that out, you figure out like, well, maybe there's something else that feels a little bit more my wheelhouse that I could do that will give me that, rather than spending $1,000 on these stupid Jill Sander boots that I've never worn. I'm I'm gonna have to put them up for sale.
No.
I know, such a pisser.
But we all have a pair of those shoes,
Yeah.
right? Like that you just never touch, and they look beautiful on your shelf. But
well, and I even did them,
They talk to
and
you.
that's the thing as a designer too. Like we did these platform boots in our runway collection one year, and like it was cool. It looked amazing on the runway. And I was secretly thinking, would I wear that in Paris? Because when you're in Paris, like it's Fashion Week, like
you feel anything goes.
yeah, anything goes, right? But damn, like I still didn't wear them.
No, but that's because in
Yeah.
Paris you're still running around. Like I mean, you're still going to appointments and stuff.
I
And
know.
a
But-
platform boot, I think, in theory, it's supposed to be very comfortable. But then I'm just so terrified of being on the metro and then my ankle just twists a certain way,
Yeah.
and then that's it for me, So.
So if you bought them, I hope to hell you're wearing them. I'm really like, I do because they were cool, but I'm not gonna do them again.
Yeah.
I mean, I never say never because then I'd like have to apologize. But so we're talking about those looks that are nice and long and lean. So this is the denim jacket. And one of the things that we still are craving, I'm never going to give up on this, is just that sense of coziness.
Mhm.
So the denim jacket, it's a sturdy, it's absolutely a jacket, but it almost feels like a shirt because it's got that throw.
That's what we're calling it now.
And it really, but it's definitely, it's not like as flimsy as a denim shirt. It's, it's got strength to it. But when we were designing it, we were like, we wanted the denim jacket that would feel cozy. Because normally when you see like a big denim jacket, like you put it on, it's like crunch, and then you get your arms. Yeah, you get like your arms all chafed up and everything. So we wanted something that like, if you're going to workout class, this is what you could throw on over your leggings. If you're going on an airplane, you could take this onto the plane and not feel like you have to remove it immediately before you try and fall asleep.
I also love the wash, the fact that it's kind of like a grayish, right? It's a very light wash, and that makes it a little bit more, like less boring, because if it was just a regular denim, then you would, you'd feel a little...
Yeah.
This you can dress up, I mean, even with the skirt, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, so, all of these things mixed up, season over season, they work.
I also love the Tibi shape because I personally have really wide hips, and anything that hits me here is just not very flattering. And so you see all these kind of new jackets, they go right under the bum, no matter your height, really. And
yeah, there's something really chic about that.
Yeah, this cocoon shape that I love.
Cocoons are good.
Yeah, and also another thing about shoes, and we were saying that we don't really have black shoes much, or I personally don't wear a lot of black shoes because I feel like the shoe is like an opportunity, oftentimes if I'm wearing something a bit simpler, to edge it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And you have this, like, you were showing this burgundy, and the one that Amy right now is wearing is in the navy, and I just feel like rather than a brown, you can do a burgundy, and then rather than a black, you can do a navy, and automatically it would kind of give a little extra something to a look, especially if you decide to go monochromatic that day, or it's just a clash with an existing color.
Yeah, even like,
but in a really subtle way.
Yeah, so this is this is from the winter collection. So this actually just went live on the site. And so what I love about this is like here, you're getting the whole notion of color, but it's done in a way that, like, for me, doesn't give me anxiety. Because it doesn't give me anxiety, and it's not because I don't like color. I actually like color. But I don't want things to just make my closet chaos. And I showed you guys my packing list, and when I packed, it really was like, all the blacks and navies, and then the pops. So, and if you just have one or two pops with you, then everything, even though I took photos of what I was going to wear in Paris, or what I packed, when I got here, I was still able to mix it up and make different combinations that I hadn't planned on. So this is where we love, like, what this green does with then this burgundy. And so this is great, like, especially at holiday time or whatever, and you don't want to look like a full-on Christmas tree. You go with the green and the burgundy here.
This particular kermit green, I feel like, has been like a dominant trend on the street style scenes. I think also because it's very eye-catching, and for Fashion Week, that's what a lot of people want. But this color is actually surprisingly easy to go with, like browns and blacks, just something that to ground it and just let that be like your main focus. Whites, that contrast has just been really amazing. I personally have been wearing a lot of this green.
But what's great too is, okay, if you're gonna go full on black, so this is the chewed out knit that we did for fall. So this is now. And so then remember, the chewed out has a purpose, right? So this gives you like this, well, actually you can't see this with my bodysuit underneath, but it gives you this kind of asymmetrical look here. But then what's really cool is, all right, so I'm in Paris and I'm wearing it with the sock and sandal. And yeah, I did have a sandwich, especially for all our Italian followers. Like, they're like, "What are you wearing a sandwich?" And I'm like, all right, when I walk, there was a sandwich. I pull my, anyways, I'm gonna have to revise some of the sandwich stuff, because with the pleated skirt, somehow, knowing that it wasn't a full tight, that when I walked and you could see the little bit of skin, made a pleated skirt that's a midi length feel a little more youthful. So that was a good, I don't want to say a good sandwich check, because I don't want anyone to get all like whacked out thinking that they're good sandwiches, but there might be.
Be held against you.
I know. But I am going to show this with like, so this is the short white boot that is coming up soon. And so I just want to show you guys, like, wearing all the black here with this feels really chic. And then in the spirit of really wearing your clothing, I had shown taking the cardigan here and then wearing that as a jacket. So remember, whenever you can wear one sweater, two sweaters may work as well. So this is when brown and black and white here, I love that color combination. So that's super chic too.
Or if you want an extra pop, would you also kind of tie it around your shoulder? Like, I love the tie a sweater around your shoulder situation, where it's like, you know, it's almost like a layering piece, like an accessory, but then actually when it's cold, you can bring it out and wear it. I do this with my boyfriend's sweaters all the time.
I would do it with the brown. I wouldn't do it with the green, because somehow green, black, and white is too aggressive. It's just too, like when we talk about 1 ton or none, this to me is one, because your eye is going here. So you've got that pop, that really pop. But I feel like if I wear the green with the black and the white,
it's like your eye don't know where to go.
Yeah, like it's just a little more, I don't know.
I mean, it depends on what, I mean, I would like it kind of if it's slung over in a way where it's kind of like
strange.
Almost strange, exactly. It's almost like an accessory than an actual piece to do anything with. But like,
so if you're wearing it like this or something, then
yeah, it's almost like a hobo
although I
bag.
almost feel too like I'm breastfeeding.
Oh my gosh. But
like, it'll happen when it's not. Yeah, if you've been a mom, you're like, oh, it's a little breasty, but it's a little breasty. But I do think you're right. Like if it's in a weird way, but.
I love that there's like green that's continuing through the spring collection as well. And obviously just slightly different tones of them. This is a jumpsuit and it's so amazing.
It's
so amazing. There's also belt loops, but you can actually make it.
Belt loops with no belt.
Yes, belt loops.
Which are the best.
And then this dreamy dress that you can literally wear all day, every day. Just something so easy, but in the color that is fresh so that you don't feel boring.
But also remember, when we talk about weird color combinations too, like the burgundy and the green looks really, really nice together. So good. So, you know, the bottom line here is, just gonna like buckle my shoe here, but the key thing is, you know, when we're designing, guys, we're thinking through all this shit for you. We really are. Like, you know, Tracy and Hannah and I, above all, like we love style, we love fashion, and we also want our closets to make sense, because it would really, like, I would never design a collection that would so purposely not go with the other 5 collections that we've designed. So I think being really smart with, when you think about what you're buying right now, I'm not saying to buy just Tibi. I'm really not, because I don't buy just Tibi. I like to wear other brands. I like to mix it up. That keeps things creative and interesting. But really keep thinking of your closet as like this continuous story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because I was having lunch today with Julia, and she's from Italy. She's so chic, but she was saying, in her early 20s, she's like, I didn't really think about style. She's like, younger people today, though, they're really coming to me and asking about style. They're not asking about items. And I thought she was so right, because when I was in my early 20s, like, I would go buy clothing when I had a date. I'm like, oh my God, I got a date tonight, and I'm going to go buy a new outfit. And I kept thinking of, like, I have a meeting, I'm going to buy a new outfit for that meeting. And I didn't think about it as, like, really a whole story, and it being my story. And so I really think for you guys out there that are listening to this and you're kind of unpacking this for yourself, go back to those times you felt like your very best self. I wish I had done this. I wish I had remembered that outfit that I wore when I was a sophomore in college. That was like literally something that we designed today in our collection. That, I remember that day. I felt so good. And I wish that I had been able to be like, oh, this is why I felt good. Because it was long, it was clean, it was modern, it was effortless, like it was chill. So
sometimes you need to go through a lot of crap in order to figure out what
a lot of crap.
Yeah, and it's like a process of elimination as well as you get older, figuring out what it is that you feel comfortable in. And I think we've all kind of gone through that. I think for me, like when I shop, for example, I now know the designers that I gravitate towards because of their silhouettes and their color combinations, etc. So if we, for example, talking about spring summer 2022, my goodness.
Tell them go back to 2020.
Oh my God, no. I mean, obviously Tibi, but then also what I liked from the runways would be like some Stella McCartney.
Yes.
Some Chloe for the days that it's I'm looking for something really handmade, or a beautiful dress that you have to have and hold forever because they're not cheap. And I love Loewe. The new shoes are amazing. It's just that hint of irony that Amy's always talking about when you're wearing something really simple and you put on that Loewe shoe that has like a crushed eggshell at the heel. I mean, there's nothing more fabulous. So as you just winnow down and you figure out what those brands are and the codes are that will make you feel good no matter the days or no matter how trends evolve.
Well, and I think a good segue to end on with that is, we were talking earlier how when I was looking at the shows, started in New York, obviously, then London, then Milan, then Paris, they really gave me a lot of anxiety at first, because the shows, by and large, were pretty crazy, like pretty extreme in terms of like body bearing and color and sequin and but what was most extreme was like Vogue's runway, street style pics. Like I was like, holy shit, like what, it was very experimental and push and interesting, but like really hard to kind of put it all together in my head, like what was going on and what did I want to like feel and see out of that. And I will say, by the time Paris happened, especially like seeing like the Balenciaga show, seeing some of the brands come out and be like, you know what, I know that this is happening and this is happening, but we're going to really like double down on what we're about and really lean into that. And you recognize that the world is happening around you and you incorporate that in, but you really, really stick to
you embrace
what you're about.
DNA, exactly.
And so I think that is what is really important, that I hope you guys take out of this, and we'll keep, helping break this down for you. But, no matter what is happening out there, you'll feel the most centered when you
feel like yourself.
Feel like yourself.
Completely.
Yeah.
And that's, even as an editor, I feel very lucky to have seen a lot of things, and I can like something on the runway for its creativity. Maybe it has some sort of, it's pushing, you know, clothing in a certain way, it's very artistic, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to personally want to wear it myself. And because I know who I am and I know what I feel comfortable in, and at the end of the day, if you don't feel comfortable in what you're wearing, people can tell that you're just trying to impersonate or, you know, trying to buy into a trend that doesn't make sense for you. So,
which is interesting too for you as an editor, because I like for us designing, it is so critical that we want to wear it ourselves. You can't do that as an editor. I mean, you have like more than a party of one, you know, but like from a design point of view now, I think the old adage was like, oh, it doesn't all have to be for you, but within our office, it really does have to speak very closely to Tracy or Hannah or myself, you know.
Well, if you don't love it, how can you make someone else love it?
Yeah.
You know, and that's
yeah, and life is short. I'm not gonna do those platform boots again.
No. and I thank you for that. My feet thank you for that.
Next week we will have a sale on a beautiful pair of Jill Sander, never been worn boots that I paid more for than I paid for my first car.
Oh my gosh.
Bums me out that I haven't worn them. But
I'll throw in a few pairs of my own. So
yeah. I know, we should have like a big like Tibi sale.
Should we do that?
We should probably do that.
Yeah, I know.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining Rosie and I from Paris. And I've clearly been talking a lot here. I have no voice anymore where it's gone. But thank you so much. And I hope I saved this the right way. I don't get in trouble afterwards from the team because I've gone rogue by myself. Enjoy. And don't forget, I do. These guys from Hannah, they are live now on the site, and they were all handmade. And again, I wish I could just do something to convey how light it is, but we were not joking when we said that it weighs exactly 4 Pringles chips. And I'm going to do this.
I'd say even less, actually.
I know, it's really so light.
I'm stealing these from her immediately.
No, you can't. So what you do though, I just want to show you put them on at the top of your ear and then you just slide them down. Really easy. All right, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And I'm probably going to go to sleep soon.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. All right. Bye.